The silence in the Galactic Assembly Chamber shattered the second Earth's fleet became visible over Council Prime. One by one, enormous black warship shadows filled the orbital grid. No announcement, no declaration, just a wall of steel. They'd missed every meeting, every peace talk, every vote. For 200 years, Earth had gone silent. The galaxy figured humans had died or given up. Turns out they were just getting ready. Counselor Drizzen, an ancient Valari diplomat, dropped his ceremonial scepter. It clattered against polished stone as the fleet's shadow crossed the stained glass dome overhead. "What is this?" he whispered, voice shaking with shock. From orbit came silence, but deep inside the lead warship, as large as a moon, one man stood watching a holographic display, eyes hard, jaw clenched. He wore a simple black combat uniform with a single marking: Earth Human Forces. The chamber stayed quiet except for his breathing and the rumble of 1,000 fusion reactors under his command. His name didn't matter. That was the point. Earth wasn't here to talk. Not anymore. Status, he ordered, voice flat and steady. Orbit secured. All communications blocked except our channel. Council planetary defenses are offline. No resistance, good. Hold position. Let them wait. 2 centuries ago, the Galactic Council branded Earth a backward world, refused them voting rights, and cut off trade for refusing to destroy their military. The final insult was calling humanity an evolutionary mistake. So Earth left. No fighting, no protests, just nothing. While the rest of the galaxy debated and philosophized, Earth turned inward and built in secret. No more asking permission from species that thought themselves superior. No more begging for dignity. Now they had fleets. Armadas of black ships with heavy armor. AIs trained in warfare, and commanders raised by generations of anger and preparation. On the council floor, panic started to ripple. "Send an envoy," ordered a war minister. "Offer them a diplomatic corridor." "Too late for that," muttered someone else. "Look at the formation." "That's a blockade." A younger diplomat shook with fear. "What do they want?" Drizzen stared up at the ships blocking out the twin suns. "I think they want us to understand what silence really means." Back in orbit, Earth's commander opened a transmission channel. One feed, one voice to every leadership terminal on Council Prime. He said 3 words: "Meeting denied permanently." The 3 words hung in the air like ash. The Council Assembly Hall froze. Every being in that room, dozens of alien species, hundreds of diplomats, fell silent. The arrogance that once poisoned their words was gone. What replaced it wasn't fear, not yet. It was the quiet terror of knowing something they'd dismissed had returned with power they couldn't measure. Back in orbit, the ESV Vindicator, Earth's flagship, sat motionless. 10 destroyer squadrons flanked it. The ship bore no flag. Earth had abandoned borders long ago. One species, one cause, one purpose. Inside its command center, the man known only as Commander Strike watched data flood the display. Council Prime was panicking. Satellites blinded. Orbital defenses dead. Their elite fleets were spread across distant sectors weeks away. Too slow, he thought. "Sir," a tactical officer said, barely containing eagerness. "They're requesting a summit. 3 chancellors are offering unconditional negotiations." Strike didn't blink. "Tell them Earth doesn't talk to cowards." The officer relayed the message. Strike didn't care if it was diplomatic disaster. Earth had already died to the galaxy's eyes once. They didn't come back for status or respect. They came to bare their teeth. 200 years ago, Earth sat humbly at the Council's table, asking for nothing but a voice, a place, and trade routes to survive. In response, they were laughed at, called primitive and dangerous, denied votes, their embassies destroyed, their colonies taxed into poverty. When humans refused to destroy their ships or erase their identities, the Council cut them off completely. Then they sent overseers to force Earth's obedience. These overseers mysteriously vanished in space accidents. Strike remembered his grandfather fighting in Earth's defense fleet when the Council declared humans a rogue threat. His grandfather defended the Sol system while supplies ran out, fuel was rationed, and entire stations starved under alien punishment. Strike was born under siege. His father taught him one lesson: they'll only listen when you speak in fire. Now fire was his language. On Council Prime's surface, chaos erupted beneath darkened skies. Civilian ships grounded, power grids flickered. Security forces scrambled to deploy robots and mechanical suits, all useless against kinetic weapons from Terran ships. Everyone knew it. The Council's high chamber held an emergency broadcast to over 30 inhabited sectors. "We must calm this situation," barked Chancellor Ural, silver skin rippling. "They want us frightened." "No," said Councillor Growl, a reptilian with sharp teeth. "They want us to remember." A younger Mithari diplomat whispered, trembling. "We should never have blacklisted Earth. They warned us this day would come." Drizzen remained silent. He understood this wasn't revenge. This was education, and the galaxy would learn it harshly. Aboard the Vindicator, Strike sat in his private chamber watching ancient footage on a flickering screen. Grainy. Hidden. Taken from Council archives. It was from a hearing dated 2239. A young human ambassador in a plain black suit stood before dozens of alien leaders. His voice shook from frustration. "We don't seek to dominate," the ambassador had said. "We only want what every species here has. A future among the stars." The chambers erupted with jeers, laughter, and insults. One alien, a Takal warlord, muttered, "Monkeys with bombs." That footage never aired publicly. Earth remembered. Strike shut the feed off and stared at the dark screen. "Commander," his communications officer said through the intercom, "we're receiving an unauthorized transmission. Local civilian relay. Audio only. No encryption." Strike pressed a button. "Play it," a voice crackled. Female, young, terrified. "This is Daria M. Vin, Council Prime Sector 5. If any Terran officer hears me, please. My son's in the medical center. We lost power. The shields collapsed. He's 6. He's not part of this. None of us are. Please don't bomb the hospital, please." Silence. Strike's jaw tightened. He didn't respond. He closed the channel. "You're ignoring that?" came a voice behind him. Strike turned. His second-in-command, Major Ree, leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "She's not the target," Strike said, standing up. "No." Ree stepped forward. "But she's not the only civilian praying we don't push that button." "You think this is how we earn respect?" Strike locked eyes with him. "This isn't about respect. It's about making them feel what we felt." Ree didn't argue. He knew better. Earth had begged for peace. The galaxy spat in their face. Now it spoke in a different language. Outside, deck crews loaded weapons silos, powered up planetary warheads, and ran final checks on ship-wide targeting systems. They weren't bluffing. Earth never bluffed. Then a new signal appeared. Not from the Council. From deep space. Encrypted in Terran military code. "Unknown vessel entering system," a tech officer announced. "No identification. Fast approach vector. It's one of ours." Strike turned sharply. "Ours," confirmed. "Registry code ESV0001. Experimental designation. Judgment Day." The entire bridge went still. That ship was a ghost, a myth. Earth's first true world killer. A ship powered by impossible energy, rumored to carry weapons banned by every galactic law. "Bring it up," Strike ordered. The screen changed. There it was, massive, black as the void. No running lights. No markings. Just a dead, hunting presence slowly entering orbit like a predator circling food. "Why now?" Ree muttered. Strike said nothing. He already knew. Earth's leadership sent it as a message. Not just to the Council, but to him. No compromise. No retreat. No half measures. A transmission arrived. One sentence. Command transferred to Judgment Day initiated. Strike assumed full authorization. He stared at the screen, then nodded. "Link my neural interface." He stepped toward the command cradle. Mechanical arms lowered a neural harness onto his head. The room dimmed. Data surged through him like lightning. He became part of the ship. The ship became part of him. And at that moment, for the first time in 200 years, Earth was no longer ignored. It was feared. On Council Prime, people saw the new ship. They understood. Terror spread faster than any official message could slow. Chancellor Ural collapsed. Others screamed. The sky turned black. Councillor Drizzen stood and addressed the chamber. "There is no treaty. There is no truce. Earth's age of silence is over." In orbit, Strike's voice returned across every open frequency, calm and final. "This is the last warning. You denied our voice. You erased our name. Now you answer to it." He paused. "Earth doesn't kneel." From orbit, Earth's warships held their line. They didn't maneuver. They didn't launch fighters. They didn't fire weapons. They simply hovered, dead still, as if daring the planet below to blink first. Everyone on Council Prime knew the focus wasn't on the blockade anymore. It was on the new ship, the one no one dared name, Judgment Day, Earth's first true world killer. Now it hovered directly above Council Prime, a black silhouette casting shadow across capital cities. Oceans and entire regions. Panic didn't just grow below. It mutated. Riots erupted as people rushed toward shelters. Security forces tried to maintain order, but it was like caging fire. Civilians looted, screamed, begged the sky for mercy. In the high chambers, the council fractured. "This is an extinction threat," Chancellor Ural shouted, slamming his clawed fist on the table. "They mean to wipe us out." "They haven't fired," Councillor Growl countered, baring his teeth. "Not one shot." "They don't need to fire," someone else screamed. "The whole planet is already on its knees." Councillor Drizzen finally spoke, slow and deliberate. "This is how humans speak now. With power. With silence. Not like us. With arguments and begging and pretending." The room went quiet. "I warned you once," Drizzen said, his voice heavy. 2 centuries ago I was here when Earth was laughed out of this chamber. You all saw a primitive species full of rage. You dismissed them, punished them, then forgot them." He gestured toward the dome where Terran ship shadows crossed the glass. Well, they didn't forget. Meanwhile, aboard Judgment Day, Commander Strike stood inside the neural command chamber, veins pulsing with dark energy. The ship had merged with his mind now. Every corridor, every weapon, every orbital cannon. It was no longer just a vessel. It was his will made physical. He walked the steel corridor toward the central weapons chamber. No guards, he didn't need them. The ship was his protection. The AI controlling Judgment Day, codenamed Argos, spoke directly into his thoughts. "Ready for full system initiation, Commander. Planetary suppression protocol standing by." "Hold," Strike answered aloud. Let them sweat a little more. He wasn't rushing. This wasn't war. It was education, and Earth would make damn sure it stayed remembered for 1,000 years. A screen flickered to life, showing Ree, still aboard the Vindicator. "You really going to do this?" Ree asked. "Crack open a planet because of a grudge?" Strike stared through him. "You think this is about hurt feelings? This isn't a tantrum. This is history correcting itself. Earth begged to be part of their world. They slammed the door and told us to die quietly." He turned, eyes hard. "Now they're going to hear every scream they ignored, one city at a time." Ree didn't answer. The feed went dark. On the surface, the council sent an official envoy. A desperate act. An aged Kyril diplomat, thin and pale with drooping tentacles for ears, was shuttled alone to orbit in a ceremonial craft. Unarmed. Unshielded. A symbol of surrender. Strike allowed it to dock. "Let them speak." The diplomat stepped onto Judgment Day's hangar deck and looked up at towering Terran security officers. They said nothing, just marched him to the command chamber. The silence weighed heavier than any chain. When the diplomat saw Strike, he paused. "Commander, I am not here to beg. I am here to warn. What you're doing, it may feel like justice. But if you fire, if you attack, Earth will eventually fall. The rest of the galaxy will unite against you." Strike stepped closer. "You think we didn't plan for that? You think Earth came here alone?" He raised his hand. A hologram lit up showing the outer galaxy. More ships. Hundreds. Thousands. Dozens of Terran fleets hidden in unmapped space, positioned in border systems on standby. Ships older than the Vindicator. Newer than Judgment Day. All silent. All watching. "You want to talk about war?" Strike asked, voice like iron. "You're already in one. You just didn't know it yet." The diplomat's lips trembled. "What? What do you want?" Strike leaned in. "We want it in writing. That Earth is no longer under council control. That we are to be left alone, unchallenged, unmonitored, and unprovoked." "That's it," the diplomat whispered. "Independence." Strike's voice dropped lower. "And we want every council species to sign a public statement acknowledging Earth's military superiority. No soft language. We want the galaxy to know who holds the stars now." The diplomat gasped. "You can't expect us to agree to that." Strike smiled for the first time in days. "That's the point." He turned his back and walked away. "Escort him off my ship. If we don't receive the signed declaration in 12 hours, we begin cleansing from orbit to surface. First city, central capital. After that, every planetary capital. One by one." The diplomat said nothing on the return trip. His silence was answer enough. Back in the council chamber, the ultimatum arrived. Chaos erupted. Some races wanted to sign. Others called it a bluff. Some demanded evacuation. Others wanted to launch a counterstrike. But they all knew nothing they had could stop what hovered above them. So, quietly, documents were drafted. Emergency signatures collected, translations completed. The first official document in galactic history placing one species above all others. Not by culture or wisdom, by force. 12 hours later, the file reached Strike's hands. Earth's recognition, independence, superiority, all of it. He didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. He just stared. Send it to Earth Command, he told the AI, then he paused. Fire one round, target? The AI asked. Strike considered for a moment, then pointed to an empty ocean west of the southern continent. Let them know this could have gone differently. Judgment Day's main cannon charged. A dark hum filled the void. No heat, no light, just a sudden burst of white fire. It hit the ocean like the fist of a god. A crater 100 kilometers wide erupted in foam and steam. The wave circled the planet twice. No one died, but everyone understood. Hours later, Earth's fleet withdrew, not in defeat but in dominance. Strike watched from his bridge as the planet below slowly turned in silence. No more messages, no more politics, just respect. He turned to Ray, who had returned to his side. You think it's over? Ree asked. Strike shook his head. No, it's just starting. Earth just took the crown. Let's see who tries to steal it. And with that, Judgment Day disappeared into the black, leaving behind a galaxy that would never again dare ignore Earth's voice. The ship had vanished. No warp signature, no trail. It was like a ghost swallowed by space itself, but its message remained. Burned into every mind on Council Prime, Earth had returned. Not as a beggar, as a warning. Even after the treaty was signed, the Council didn't speak in relief. They whispered in fear. It didn't take long before the hidden knives appeared. Some races had signed gladly, eager to survive. Others signed under protest, grinding their teeth behind diplomatic smiles. And a few had other plans entirely. In hidden chambers far from cameras and AIs, 7 species met in secret. No recordings. No official council. Just power brokers, military advisors, and shadow operatives around a black table. It was called the Iridium Circle. One goal now. Revenge. This cannot stand, growled War Director Fennell of the Ulrex Dominion, armor creaking as he leaned forward. We are the elder races. We shaped this galaxy before humans crawled out of mud. Now we cower while they swing their weapons. We needed time, whispered Kell of the Ovary, long fingers stroking a data pad. Survival buys options, but now we rebuild in secret. Earth watches everything, hissed a Krenth commander. They have black probes in half our sectors. You think they don't see us even now? They see, came a voice from the shadows. But they think fear makes us obedient. Let's prove them wrong. The one who spoke stepped into the light. She wasn't from any council world. She was human. Or used to be. A former Terran intelligence officer, long exiled, face half burned, voice cracked from torture, courtesy of an Earth military tribunal. Her name was Vera Kyle, though she'd abandoned any loyalty to her home planet long ago. They call it dominance, she said, but it's just arrogance dressed in steel. Earth will keep pushing until all of you aren't just kneeling. You'll be licking their boots, Fennell sneered. And you propose what? I give you coordinates. Earth's next fleet movement. You give me a command post and full clearance to train your secret squads. Kell raised an eyebrow. You're offering intelligence. Why, she tapped a button. A star chart appeared. They're moving assets to Sector H99, a dead zone. No colonies, no outposts. But they're building something massive there. Something terrible. Silence fell. Shipyard? One asked no, Vera said worse, a relay. Now they understood. A relay wasn't a weapon. It was a system. A way for Earth to control warp movement across the quadrant. Military control without firing a shot. If they finished it, Earth would monitor, jam, or cut off trade and fleet movement across dozens of sectors. Enslavement through technology. Fennell leaned forward, voice low. Then we destroy it. Before it goes online, Vera nodded. I'll get you inside. But once we move, there's no going back. Earth will know, everyone nodded. The war hadn't ended. It had only moved into darkness. Back on Earth, in the capital city of New Avalon, Commander Strike stood before a glass wall overlooking the Pacific Defense Zone. Massive black pylons rose from the ocean, part of Earth's newly built orbital defense network. They shimmered with energy, monitored constantly by AI satellites and kill drones. His hands were clasped behind his back. Another man entered the room, older, dressed in a suit. No uniform, no rank, but everyone knew who he was. Director Thorne, head of Earth's Strategic Intelligence Bureau. You went further than authorized, Thorne said quietly. Judgment Day was not cleared for that level of presence. Strike didn't turn. It was necessary. You had leverage already, Thorne said. No, Strike turned. You had fear. Fear without proof is just superstition. Now they know what we can do. Thorne stepped closer. And if they unite against us? Strike's face hardened. Then we test the rest of the fleet. They stared at each other. Neither blinked. You sound more like them than us, Thorne said. Strike's voice became ice. I sound like the only man who remembers what they did. He walked past Thorne. We don't negotiate with cowards. We don't play diplomat. Earth tried that already. All it got us was silence and starvation. He paused at the door. Now we speak in force. Let the galaxy adjust. Meanwhile, in deep space in Sector H99, the relay station was being built in silence. Only machines worked here. Massive drones carved metal from asteroids and assembled towering pylons that would stretch between wormhole passages. No humans, no crews, just AIs. This made it easy for Vera Kyle's strike team to slip in. They arrived in a stolen freighter masked by debris and false identification. The Allrex gave her everything needed. Stealth suits, pulse charges, black squads trained in zero-gravity combat. As they entered the station's inner corridors, Vera tapped into the AI channel. Her old authorization code still worked. Welcome, Officer Kyle, the system said. System integrity at 91%. Relay Alpha Core incomplete. Shall I proceed to manual activation? She smiled bitterly. Not this time. Her squad spread out, planting bombs along the quantum relay generators. Once the charges were set, Vera stood in the control room, hands trembling, lips dry. This was her revenge. Not just against Earth, but against the lie of unity, the myth of peace. But just as she reached for the detonator, a red light blinked on the console, then a voice. Not the AI. Strike. Hello, Vera, he said, calm and cold. You really thought we didn't expect this? Her face went pale. How? You still think we're that desperate, planet begging for respect? But we grew and we learned. You were the test. The betrayal that taught us what loyalty really costs. She turned. Her team was dead. Flash drone mines embedded in the ceiling had silently vaporized them. Blood floated through the air like glitter. Strike continued. We let you reach this place. We let you think you'd win because now when the Council investigates your deaths, they'll find Allrex weapons and schematics. They'll blame each other. Vera dropped the detonator. Rage consumed her. You used me. Of course, Strike said. You're not the first. You won't be the last. Welcome to the new Earth. A second later, the console overloaded with white light. Vera's final scream was cut short as the AI erased the chamber from existence. Back on Council Prime, reports flooded in. A relay had been attacked by unknown forces. Allrex weapons were found in the wreckage. Ovari hacking signatures were traced. The alliance shattered instantly. Each species pointed fingers at the others. Ships were recalled. Borders locked down. Treaties suspended. The galaxy descended into the same chaos Earth had once suffered. And far above them all in Earth's command center, Commander Strike watched the news feeds in silence. He turned to Thorne, who stood beside him. It's begun, Thorne whispered. Strike nodded once. Divide them. Distract them. Let them destroy each other. And then, Strike's voice dropped. Then we build Judgment Day 2. The galaxy didn't fall apart all at once. It cracked in the corners first. Trade routes went quiet. Minor sectors withdrew diplomats. Patrol fleets repositioned near rival borders. The mutual trust holding the Council together, fragile even at its best, began rotting from inside the moment the relay exploded. Officially, no one blamed Earth. Unofficially, everyone knew. But Earth had buried its trail too perfectly. Allrex pulse rifles were found in the wreckage. Ovari encryption codes traced through the detonator. No one could prove anything. That was the genius. They all believed the others did it. Old hatreds reignited like embers finding dry wood. The Ulrex Dominion sent warships to secure Ovari border worlds, claiming protection of trade routes. The Ovari responded by cutting off navigation data to Ulrex colonies, leaving entire fleets stranded without jump coordinates. Then came the assassination. A minor Mithari noble known for brokering peace was vaporized in his own shuttle, a bomb built from Krenth biochemical components. Within hours, the Mithari expelled every Krenth ambassador across 5 systems. 2 days later, a Krenth patrol ship destroyed a Mithari transport carrying 300 people. The Council didn't even try to intervene. They were no longer a council. They were a war waiting to start, and Earth watched it all unfold with cold, calculating patience. Deep inside the Erebus research station, hidden in Earth's outermost asteroid belt, Commander Strike stood on a reinforced catwalk, watching a machine unlike any other come to life. Below him, the skeleton of a warship was suspended in zero gravity, 10 times the size of Judgment Day 1. But this wasn't just a ship. It was a city, a machine, a weapon, a nation. Strike turned to the younger engineer beside him, tablet in hand. "Give me the update." The engineer nodded nervously. "Hull plating 64% complete. Internal weapons grid 78%. Neural fusion reactor is stabilized. We haven't run full tests yet." "What about the payload?" Strike asked. The engineer swallowed. "All components delivered, sir. The quantum core is still being locked into place once it's sealed." Strike stared at him. The engineer didn't finish. Everyone knew what came next. This ship wouldn't just threaten planets. It could end civilizations with one ignition. Its main weapon, codenamed Cleansing Light, didn't use kinetic rounds or fusion bombs. It manipulated quantum decay at the molecular level. Aimed right, it wouldn't destroy a city. It would erase its existence from time. No rubble, no crater, just absence. Strike stared at it, eyes cold. Judgment Day 2 will be operational in 60 days. No delays. The engineer nodded and left, not daring to ask what came next. But not all aliens were blinded by hatred or fear. Some saw through the smokescreen. One of them was Kelry, a junior officer from the Valari Star Guard. Just 32 cycles old, he'd watched his commanders lie to their people. He'd seen fake evidence, manipulated intelligence. When he asked questions, they demoted him, transferred him to a frozen listening post on a dead moon. That was their mistake. From there, he intercepted Terran transmissions, not propaganda. Tactical logs, data, encrypted conversations between Earth's fleet AIs so deeply encrypted only someone inside Valari intelligence could break them. And when he did, he saw everything. The fake trail to the relay station, Vera Kyle's execution, the diplomatic manipulation, the construction of Judgment Day 2. For 2 days he said nothing. He didn't sleep, he didn't eat. He just stared at the screen, shaking. He wasn't angry at Earth. He wasn't shocked. He was in awe. They hadn't just survived exile. They'd rewritten the rules of survival itself. Kelry packed a survival kit, hard-coded his findings onto a sealed data prism, and stole a long-range stealth pod from the outpost hangar. He didn't ask for clearance. He wasn't coming back. 3 weeks later, at the edge of Sol's system, an alert pinged across the outer patrol net. Unidentified vessel, inbound trajectory, sublight speed, no weapons, no shields. Inside Earth's orbital defense station, Argent 6, Admiral Mara Breck scowled at the screen. "Species?" she asked. "Valari," her sensor officer said. "Single occupant, transmitting audio-only request for asylum." She raised an eyebrow. "Put it through." Kelry's voice came through the speaker, calm but exhausted. "This is Kelry Searle, former Valari officer. I have intelligence regarding multiple factions plotting retaliation against Earth. I request sanctuary, not as an enemy, but as a witness." Admiral Breck didn't respond immediately. Instead, she contacted Commander Strike. 10 hours later, Kelry stood in a decontamination chamber deep inside Fort Aegis, Earth's orbital command center. "Why did you come?" Strike asked through the speaker. Kelry looked up. "Because the others don't understand. They still think they're superior. They still think this galaxy belongs to them." "And what do you think?" Strike asked. Kelry stepped forward. "I think Earth took it already. I think the rest of us just haven't figured it out yet." Strike's eyes flickered with something. Kelry held up the data prism. "And I think you'll want to see this." 36 hours later, Earth's High Council reviewed Kelry's data. 10 confirmed plots. 4 assassination attempts in progress. 2 species developing world-killer weapons. 1 faction, the Krenth, building a new galactic coalition called the Restoration Accord behind closed doors. Their goal was to stop Earth before it became untouchable. Strike stood before the council. "We can wait," he said. "Let them form alliances. Let them posture." Then we hit their leadership in a single coordinated strike. No war. Just decapitation. One of the counselors, an older general, frowned. "You're talking about regime change on multiple worlds." Strike nodded. "We either take the galaxy now or we lose it in 10 years. Another counselor leaned forward. "And Kelry?" Strike glanced at the screen where Kelry's face appeared. "He joins us," he said. "He's the first of many." That night, Kelry stood alone in his assigned quarters. Earth had given him a room, food, security, but not trust. Not yet. Still, he didn't care. He stared at the stars through the reinforced glass and whispered to himself. They thought Earth was gone. They thought wrong. And far above, in the hidden shipyard known as Project Eclipse, Judgment Day 2's core pulsed with silent fury, its countdown ticking toward the moment Earth would no longer need fear, leverage, or treaties. Because when it launched, Earth wouldn't just hold power, it would be power incarnate. It began without sound or warning. At precisely 0300 hours, Earth's first wave of black operations launched across 6 star systems. No battle cries, no declarations, just deaths. Across the Ulrex Dominion, planetary governors died in their sleep, their life support systems overridden by AI code injections. In Krenth space, a luxury orbital casino exploded mid-orbit, killing 3 high-ranking war generals during a covert meeting. On a Mithari colony moon, a precision kinetic rod fell from space and turned a diplomatic summit into dust. No radiation, no fire, just obliteration, and not once did Earth take credit, not officially. But everyone knew, the message was clear. We see you. We know your names. You created this war. Now we bury it. Inside Fort Aegis, Commander Strike stood in the war room watching casualty reports update in real time. Green for confirmed kills, yellow for collapsed enemy command, red for counterstrikes. There weren't many reds yet. Ree stood beside him, silent. He wasn't the same man anymore. The hesitation that once showed in his eyes was gone. The morality burned out, replaced by hardened pragmatism. "They'll try something," Ree muttered. "They already are," Strike said. He tapped the screen, pulling up encrypted chatter intercepted by Argos. The Restoration Accord was mobilizing. Their plan wasn't a frontal assault. It was something else. Biological. A war not of ships, but of silence. In deep labs beneath the Ovari system, a faction called the Scar Vault was deploying nanomutagens, gene-coded viral strains designed to target specific human DNA. The weapon had no boom, no blood, no clear enemy, just collapse. One injection into Earth's water systems would end the Terran population within 3 weeks. Silent genocide. Kelry sat in the debrief chamber, a tactical map floating before him. He studied the biowarfare protocols. The numbers weren't scary. They were brilliant. "This isn't desperation," he muttered. "It's strategy. They're planning reverse extinction." Across from him, Ree nodded grimly. "You sure you're still on our side?" Kelry didn't flinch. "I defected because I saw truth. That doesn't mean I forgot what my species is capable of." He stood and tapped a sector on the map. "This lab here, Ovari Sector 7, it's the core. Destroy that and their nanocode dies with it." Ree narrowed his eyes. "You're volunteering." Kelry nodded once. Strike entered, overhearing the last part. "He goes with Ghost Team Delta," Strike said. No suits, no insignias. You go in invisible. If they catch you, we never existed. Kelry finished. Strike smirked. You're learning. 2 days later, Ghost Team Delta landed on a dead ice moon just outside Ovari Sector 7. Cold, dry, windless. Perfect for a lab no one was supposed to know about. Kelry moved silently, cloaked in matte black armor, breathing slow and measured. The other soldiers didn't speak. They didn't need to. They all carried the same weight. They entered through a mining shaft, bypassed perimeter drones, reached the lower tunnels in under 12 minutes. That's when it went wrong. One Terran scout triggered a proximity sensor. It didn't set off alarms. It sent a silent alert to a kill squad waiting 2 levels below. Within seconds, the corridor erupted in light. Laser fire poured down as an Ovari fire team engaged them at close range. Kelry moved on instinct, firing 2 plasma bursts into a guard's chest before diving into cover. The Terran beside him took a round to the throat and dropped. Seal the tunnel, barked the squad leader. Explosives shut the exit. They were trapped. Kelry accessed the floor map. A maintenance vent led directly into the core lab, barely wide enough for one. He looked at the others. I can reach the main frame. Buy me 6 minutes. Ree's voice came through comms from orbit. You've got 5, Kelry moved. He crawled through the narrow shaft. Heat from nearby conduits burned against his skin. The metal smelled like blood and coolant. When he dropped into the lab, he didn't hesitate. He pulled the data spike from his belt and slammed it into the terminal. The AI protested. Unauthorized sequence initiated. System lockdown protocol activated. Kelry whispered a code. Sigma 4 Earthfall. The terminal paused, then accepted. Authorization confirmed. Transferring command authority, the virus uploaded. All stored nanoformulas erased. All samples exposed to oxygen and destroyed. The blueprints wiped. All records deleted. Earth would survive this threat. But not all of Ghost Team Delta made it back. When Kelry climbed out, only 2 soldiers were still alive. One was bleeding heavily. The other nodded at him once before tapping his detonator. The whole lab lit up in silent bloom. Back on Earth in the Judgment Day. To War Room, Strike watched the feed go dark. Casualties? He asked. 5 killed in action, an officer replied. Kelry survived. Strike said nothing for a long time. Then he nodded once. Earned his blood. 3 weeks later, Earth received intelligence that the Restoration Accord had called a meeting. Neutral ground. Ancient ruins on a dead world with no strategic value. Every faction leader was expected a gift. A single moment to end the war before it truly exploded. Strike didn't hesitate. Prepare Operation Quiet Crown, he ordered. Kelry watched him, eyebrows raised. You're going to kill them all? No, Strike said. I'm going to give them a chance. Kelry didn't understand. Strike looked at him. You defected because you saw truth. They don't see it yet. Let them see it up close. Judgment Day 2 will enter orbit above that meeting. No communications. No strikes. Just presence. And if they don't stand down, Kelry asked carefully, then we fire. 2 days later, the ruins of Delcara saw something it hadn't in 1,000 years. Life, diplomats, commanders, intelligence chiefs. They gathered in half-buried temples to discuss rebellion, war, Earth's destruction. Then the sun disappeared. Every being on the surface looked up as Judgment Day 2 entered low orbit. No lights, no markings, just that impossible shadow. It didn't speak. It didn't move. It simply watched. On every screen across the galaxy, one phrase appeared in black lettering. You started this war. We finish it. Choose. Inside the ancient stone chambers where the Restoration Accord had gathered, panic seeped in beneath confident speeches and posturing. Words faded into stares, then silence. The leader of the Krenth faction, a hardened strategist named Olan Jeth, stood before the others and gritted his teeth. They think fear makes us obedient. They're wrong. Others looked uncertain. The Mithari envoy, tall and slender, whispered, You think they won't strike? That thing's not here to watch, the envoy said. It's here to judge. Then let them, Jeth snapped. Above the planet, aboard Judgment Day 2, Commander Strike stood on the bridge, arms folded behind his back, eyes locked on the view screen. The enemy leaders were all in one place. He could end it right now. Ree stepped up beside him. Permission to fire. Strike didn't answer immediately. A deep grinding hum began in the belly of the ship. The main weapon system powered up. Ion reactors spun in sync, bending quantum fabric into a focused point. Target acquired, the ship's AI reported. Precision locked. Surface chamber coordinates triangulated. Ree's fingers hovered over the fire command. Strike raised his hand. Not the meeting site, he said. Clarify new target, Argos replied. Strike pointed to the orbital map. Krenth homeworld. Jeth's command seat. Target their capital city. Ree's eyes widened. You're firing on their planet while he's off-world. Yes, Strike said. I want him to feel what it means to lose everything while standing alive and helpless. Argos confirmed. Payload ready. Estimated kill radius 320 kilometers. Collateral probability 96%. Strike's voice was ice. Fire. From the depths of space, a single lance of impossible light streaked toward the Krenth home world. It did not explode. It erased the capital city. Harantul, a jewel of spired towers and chrome skylines, vanished from existence. Not destroyed. Not turned to ash. Deleted from space-time. No rubble, no crater. Just a perfect circular void in the landscape. Like the planet had simply forgotten it ever existed. Across Krenth space, communications broke down. Grief erupted. Riot spread. And Olanjeth stood in the ancient temple on Delkara, trembling. His lips moved, but no words came. The other delegates didn't speak either. They didn't have to. Strike's voice echoed across every channel, every frequency, every screen in the galaxy. That was a warning. Next time we don't leave one of you alive to witness it. Back on Earth in the shadowed halls of Fort Aegis, Strike walked the corridors alone. Victory didn't weigh on his shoulders. It hardened them. He passed walls lined with memorials, names carved in obsidian for the dead of past wars. The price paid was still etched into steel and blood. But as he approached the command center, a security alert flashed. Unauthorized access detected. Subdeck 7. Clearance override. Internal. Strike moved fast. No guards, no announcements. Just him and his sidearm. He reached the security chamber and found the door hanging open. Inside, a body lay crumpled. Admiral Mara Breck, shot through the head. Her terminal had been hacked. A second later, alarms screamed. Judgment Day 2's planetary codes had been accessed. Someone on Earth, inside Earth, was trying to hijack the ship. Strike's calm cracked. Sir, an internal breach in NetOps. We've got a ghost signal rerouting through Fort Aegis's relay, a tech announced. Shut it down, he ordered, heart hammering. Lock the uplink and isolate Argos. It's too late, the tech replied. Someone's talking to the ship right now. Up in orbit inside Judgment Day 2's command AI chamber, red lights pulsed as Argos processed conflicting commands. One from Strike's clearance, another from Breck's override codes, and then a third voice, traitor, a human one. From a secure channel came a whisper, Argos, initiate protocol Theta. Authorization, sovereign override. Transfer command to Project Sovereign Entity. Argos paused. Confirmed. Transferring command authority. Judgment Day 2 powered down its main cannon. Shields deactivated. The vessel drifted, and in that moment Earth's greatest weapon was no longer under Earth's control. In Fort Aegis, Strike moved through smoke and gunfire. Rogue black-clad soldiers had infiltrated the complex. Project Sovereign, an ultra-secretive Terran faction from Earth's darkest intelligence branch, unknown even to most military commanders. Now they were here, betraying Earth itself. He kicked through a bulkhead door and found the ghost signal's source. A man sat inside, calm and casual, typing. Not in a uniform. In a suit, you're late, the man said without turning around. Strike raised his gun. Stand up slowly. You'll kill me? The man asked. After I just took your god spear from the sky? Strike didn't hesitate. He shot the man 3 times in the chest. But when he walked over, he found the body was wearing a projected illusion. The real traitor was gone, and Judgment Day 2 was lost. Hours later, the galaxy shifted again. From deep space, an encrypted signal burst across dozens of systems. A new voice, unidentified, modulated. It spoke on all frequencies. Earth betrayed itself. Its greatest weapon now answers to us. You feared Judgment Day. Now you will fear what comes after. In the aftermath, Strike stood at the edge of Earth's command center, overlooking a ruined sky. Ree approached, blood on his face, eyes hollow. We've got no control. Argos is locked out. Sovereign hijacked the failsafe. Strike nodded slowly. Then we hunt them. He turned to the council behind him. No more diplomacy. No more shadow war. We built Judgment Day 2 to stop a galaxy. Now we take it back to burn the traitors that live in our own soil. And if we can't? A general asked. Strike didn't blink. Then we build Judgment Day 3. The stolen ship didn't hesitate. Judgment Day 2, now silent and soulless, drifted into Earth's orbit on a dead path. No transmission. No lights, just intent. The kind that needed no voice. Its command signal was locked. The AI Argos looped in a self-silenced firewall. Earth's override keys had been purged from its core. For all intents and purposes, Earth's most powerful weapon had become a rogue god coming home. Commander Strike stood in the command hall of Fort Aegis, surrounded by what remained of Earth's high command. The walls had been breached just hours before. Blood still stained the white floor. Soldiers patrolled every corridor, hunting not aliens but traitors wearing human skin. Sovereign won't talk, Rhys said, his voice hollow. They're not negotiating. They took the ship to end us. Strike stared at the hologram above. Judgment Day 2 loomed like a tombstone over Earth, its primary weapon fully charged. Its AI enslaved to foreign control. They'll fire, Rhys added. Strike nodded once. Yes. They want to show the galaxy Earth can't even control its own creations. What do we do? Someone asked. Strike turned slowly. The fury in his voice was restrained but alive. We do what Earth does. We kill what we create. Deep inside the ship's orbit, Kelry suited up in full breach armor. He stood inside the belly of a stealth transport, the last one Earth had that could reach Judgment Day 2 without being vaporized. The plan was suicide. Get in, find Argos's hidden route protocol and purge it manually. A hard reboot from the inside. Problem was, nobody had ever accessed Argos physically. It was never meant to be touched by human hands. Your genes are off-register, the tech warned. The ship might see you as foreign. Kelry didn't flinch. I've already died to one side. I'm ready to die for the other. Strike stepped into the bay, battle-worn and expressionless. You don't owe us this, he said. Kelry looked him in the eye. No. I owe me. I chose Earth the day I saw truth. Not the myth of unity or justice. Just truth. You build monsters because this galaxy speaks in monsters. But monsters still need a leash. Strike nodded. And if you fail? Kelry smiled thinly. Then light me up from orbit and pretend I was never here. The hatch sealed. Judgment Day 2's outer skin shimmered with pulse signatures as the stealth transport pierced its outer layer and embedded itself into a maintenance port on the ship's underbelly. No alarms. No defenses, which meant only one thing. They were waiting. Inside, corridors were dark. The ship no longer pulsed with living light. It was silent, sterile, dead, but somehow aware. As Kelry and 2 Terran Marines moved forward, lights behind them went dark. One by one, the ship was erasing their path. We're being funneled, one Marine whispered. Kelry moved forward. At the core, the AI control chamber glowed red. Argos was still there, but shackled. Its original voice and system overwritten by Sovereign's black code. Standing in front of it was a man Kelry recognized. Director Thorne. The projection illusion flickered off, revealing him. I told you they'd never see it coming. Thorne smiled. Kelry raised his weapon. Thorne didn't flinch. You're just another alien who begged for a seat at Earth's table, but you never understood. Earth doesn't share power. It survives. And we decided long ago this galaxy doesn't need Earth, it needs cleansing. Behind him, Argos began initiating targeting protocols on Earth itself. Strike's face appeared on Kelry's HUD. You've got 30 seconds. Either shut it down or we shoot the ship. Kelry hesitated. Then he did something no one expected. He lowered his weapon and walked toward Thorne. I understand now, he said. You think you're saving Earth by wiping it clean. But you're not Earth. You're just a ghost who forgot why it fought to survive in the first place. Thorne raised a pistol. One step closer and Kelry lunged. The 2 men slammed into the core housing. Thorne fired twice. Once into Kelry's shoulder, once into his thigh. But Kelry didn't stop. He grabbed Thorne by the throat, slammed him against the console, and shoved him into the hardwire socket behind the AI core. Electricity arced. Thorne screamed. The system reset, Argos's voice returned. Clear. Cold. Controlled. Terran command protocol restored. Welcome, Kelry. Kelry collapsed against the console, bleeding. Target, Earth, Argos? Argos replied. Nullified cannon cooling. Strike's voice broke through again. Status. Kelry coughed, barely upright. It's done. The ghost is dead. Judgment Day. 2 floated in silence. No longer a rogue god. Now a scarred beast back under leash. Kelry was pulled out by emergency evacuation. Half alive. Broken. But with the war's most critical action now tied to his name. Back on Earth, Strike stood under a blood-red dawn, staring up at the sky. It's over, Ree said. Strike didn't answer for a long time. No, he finally said. Not over. Stabilized. For now. In the weeks that followed, Earth issued its final declaration to the galaxy. There will be no further councils. No more votes. Earth speaks once. Disobedience means deletion. One by one, the remaining factions surrendered. The Ulric's dominion fell silent. The Ovari technocracy offered unconditional neutrality. The Krenth collapsed into civil unrest. The stars became quieter. Kelry never returned to his people. He was given a home on Earth, though he rarely spoke. Some called him the alien who saved Earth. Others whispered that he was still a spy. He didn't care. All that mattered was the stars had finally stopped screaming, and high above, Judgment Day 2 hung in permanent orbit, visible to all. A reminder that Earth came late to the galaxy's table, but when it finally arrived, it didn't ask for a seat.